Have you ever wondered who tops the FBI's most wanted list?
The FBI's 10 most wanted fugitives list now includes a man with ties to Houston.
It's not only a question for crime buffs, but a peek into a world where justice tirelessly chases shadows.
The FBI's 10 most wanted list, you will have very few friends.
The FBI recently revealed their new list, and it's full of people that may shock and surprise you. Bhadresh Kumar Patel. Imagine a night like any other at a Dunkin' Donuts in Hanover, Maryland, where Bhadresh Kumar and his wife work the night shift. Patel had moved to the United States in 1990, and him and his wife had worked at that Dunkin' Donuts for a while. But behind their nightly routine lurked a chilling secret that was soon to shock a local community. It would be April 12th of 2015 that would be a turning point in his life. Surveillance footage captured the couple entering the kitchen together, and moments later, Patel emerged alone, turning off an oven and leaving the store in eerie silence. The absence of staff struck the customers as being odd, and a nearby police officer, alerted by concerns, made a grim discovery. His wife's body laid lifeless in the back room, bearing multiple stab wounds. A domestic dispute had gone fatally wrong, stemming from disagreements about their future, and it turned out to be this tragic moment. Patel's escape was as swift as the crime was brutal. He had walked back to his apartment, hastily gathered his belongings, and then took a taxi to New Jersey. He stayed there overnight at a hotel near the airport and then vanished the following morning. His last known whereabouts were the Newark Penn Station, where he boarded a hotel shuttle and disappeared into thin air. The investigation into his escape would reveal several complications. His visa had expired by the time of the murder, which raised questions about his means of living in the country. Authorities had speculated that he may have received help from acquaintances, considering the impulsive nature of the crime. With connections in Canada, India, New Jersey, and more, he had various potential escape routes. In 2017, the FBI would intensify the manhunt, adding him to their 10 most wanted fugitives list, offering a $100,000 reward for any information that led to his arrest. He faces a litany of charges, which includes first-degree murder and assault, and his case is not only that of a fugitive on the run, it's a somber reminder of the tragic consequences of unresolved domestic issues and the devastating impact they can have on a family. As the FBI continues its pursuit, he remains a ghost, evading capture. His case symbolizes the ongoing struggle between law and order and those who slip through its grasp. Each day that he remains at large, his story adds another layer of intrigue and urgency to the world of crime and justice. Alexis Flores. In criminal history, there are some cases that stand out for sheer brutality, and the story of Alexis Flores is one such tale. Born in 1975 in Honduras, Flores' life took a dark turn which led him to becoming one of America's most wanted fugitives. And his crime? The shocking kidnap, rape, and murder of a 5-year-old girl in Philadelphia. Flores, a drifter known as Carlos or Carlo, had found a job in Philadelphia, and he was taken in by Jorge Contreras, who had offered him clothing and handyman work. Little did anyone know that his act of kindness would have a tragic outcome. In August of 2000, the community would be shaken to its core when the lifeless body of young Ariana de Jesus would be discovered in the basement of an abandoned apartment where Flores had stayed. The details were harrowing. She had been sexually assaulted, strangled, and then callously discarded in a trash bag. The investigation into her murder would lead to disturbing revelations. A T-shirt found near the body with a distinct political logo and bloodstains would be identified by Contreras as having belonged to Flores. However, by the time she was reported missing, Flores had already vanished. His brush with the law did not end there. In 2002, he was arrested in Arizona for shoplifting, and again in 2004 for possession of a forgery device. It was during the latter incident that his DNA was collected, a piece of evidence that would later become crucial in linking him to Ariana's murder. In 2007, a DNA match would be confirmed, irrevocably tying Flores to the crime scene in Philadelphia, but by then he had been deported to Honduras. The FBI would waste no time reacting to the revelation and added him to their 10 most wanted fugitives list. A reward of $100,000 would be offered for information which led to his arrest, and he's now recognized as a significant threat and considered armed and extremely dangerous. The search for Flores had been a challenging one. Fluent in both Spanish and English, he's believed to have connections that could help him evade capture. He could be in Honduras or may have managed to return to the United States, and the uncertainty adds to the complexity of his case. His case is a reminder of the monstrous actions individuals are capable of, and as the FBI continues its pursuit, his story is not only about the hunt for a fugitive, it's a narrative about justice for a young girl whose life was brutally snatched away and a community left reeling in the wake of such unspeakable violence. Donald Eugene Fields II. In the dark underbelly of crime, there are few actions that are reprehensible as those involving the exploitation of children. And for Donald Eugene Fields II, his name is now synonymous with such heinous acts. He's said to have committed a disturbing series of sexual trafficking offenses, particularly targeting children, which spanned from 2013 to 2017. And his modus operandi would be shocking. According to the charges, he was not only involved in trafficking, he was also the mastermind, accused of recruiting, enticing, and forcing a minor into commercial sex acts. And these actions went on for quite some time. The indictment against Fields in December of 2022 underscored the gravity of his alleged crimes, but his criminal endeavors did not stop at trafficking. He also faces an array of charges in Missouri, which include statutory rape, sodomy, molestation, and witness tampering. These offenses paint a horrifying picture of a man who preyed upon the vulnerable and then used every means necessary to escape accountability. His story of evading the law is remarkable. In March of 2022, he abandoned his residence and disappeared, skipping a court hearing. His sudden disappearance would add to the urgency of the manhunt. His addition to the FBI's 10 most wanted fugitives was not only a procedural step, it's an example of the threat that he poses to society, especially to the innocent. His case represents a darker and sinister side of humanity, reminding everyone of the critical role that law enforcement plays in protecting society from such individuals. The FBI's pursuit is driven not only by the need to bring him to justice, but also to safeguard the vulnerable from his predations. The reward of up to $100,000 underscores the seriousness of his alleged crimes and the urgency of his capture. As he remains at large, his story continues to unfold, a grim narrative of exploitation and a fugitive's attempt to outrun justice, and each day that he remains free is another day that people are in danger. The relentless pursuit of Donald Eugene Fields II reflects an unwavering commitment to ensuring the scales of justice become balanced, and that those who commit such shocking crimes will face the full force of the law. Arnoldo Jimenez. The story of Arnoldo Jimenez is one that's marked by a shocking turn from celebration to tragedy. Born in February of 1982, he entered the FBI's list of most wanted fugitives for a crime that is as heartbreaking as it is heinous: the murder of his wife Estrella only hours after their wedding in May of 2012. His wife was found lifeless in her Burbank, Illinois apartment's bathtub, still clad in her silver wedding dress. This haunting image marked a tragic ending to what began as a joyful union. The couple had exchanged their vows at the city hall, and it was a day that was full of promise and celebration. But that happiness would be short-lived, and the events following the wedding would reveal a sinister plot. Afterwards, they went out for a night on the town. However, an intense argument broke out between them on their way home. The dispute would escalate, leading to Jimenez fatally stabbing his wife multiple times in the vehicle. The brutality of the action would be shocking, and his subsequent actions were cold and calculated. He had left her body in the apartment's bathtub, a grim conclusion to their wedding day. His wife's family, expecting her to pick up the children the next day, had grown alarmed when she never showed up, and after having reported her missing, the discovery of her body would be made. The absence of forced entry suggested a personal crime, and the spotlight quickly turned to her new husband, who had since disappeared. The investigation into his whereabouts would reveal a trail leading from Chicago to various locations, which included Tennessee and eventually Mexico. His swift escape and the discovery of his abandoned vehicle, stained with blood, pointed towards a premeditated escape plan. In September of 2012, another piece of the puzzle would emerge when his brother would be arrested, and his vehicle that was used in the murder was found in his garage. This evidence would solidify his role in the crime. Today, it's believed that Arnoldo is hiding in Mexico, particularly the Santiago region, though he may be somewhere else. The FBI has offered a reward of $100,000 for any information that leads to his capture, underscoring their commitment to bringing him to justice. Wilver Palomino. The name of Wilver Palomino, also known as Carlos El Puerco, echoes with notoriety in the world of international crime. Born in 1981, he had carved out a reputation as a major player in the narcotics trade and as a key figure in the National Liberation Army, a paramilitary narco group in Colombia. His story is a blending of violence, drugs, and international intrigue, which placed him firmly on the FBI's 10 Most Wanted Fugitives list. His criminal journey is intertwined with Colombia's dark history of drug trafficking. He, along with co-conspirators, are accused of orchestrating a massive cocaine trafficking network. The operation, believed to be responsible for 80% of the cocaine entering into the U.S., underscores the scale of his influence in the drug trade, but his criminal activities extend well beyond that. He's reported to be a significant figure in the trade, implicating him in a host of other criminal activities, which includes kidnappings, assassinations, money laundering, and weapons trafficking. His involvement in various criminal endeavors has had far-reaching consequence, not only in Colombia but also in neighboring countries. His group's actions are not limited to narcotics. They also engage in terrorism, sabotage, political manipulation, and more, all aimed at destabilizing a government institution and undermining national security. The funds that are generated from their actions are thought to fuel these activities, adding a layer of complexity to the threat they pose. Recognizing the severity of his crimes, law enforcement on both sides of the border have intensified efforts to capture him. The United States government offers a $5 million reward for any information that leads to his arrest and conviction, and the substantial reward reflects high priority that's placed on bringing him to justice and the commitment of law enforcement agencies to combat the spread of dangerous drugs. Palomino's placement on the list is a clear message. Individuals involved in extensive criminal enterprises will not evade the law. As the hunt for him continues on, his case serves as a reminder that justice knows no boundaries. His capture is a crucial thing, not only for bringing a notorious criminal to justice, but also for disrupting the operations of a group that has sown violence and instability across many regions. Yulan Carrillas. In the notorious world of gang violence and organized crime, Yulan Carrillas, also known as El Porky, stands out as a particularly menacing figure. Born in February of 1982, El Porky climbed the ranks to become a feared leader of the MS-13 gang in Honduras, a role which eventually led to his inclusion on the FBI's 10 Most Wanted Fugitives list. As a leader of MS-13, one of the world's most violent criminal gangs, his crimes are nothing short of chilling. A rap sheet that includes a range of serious offenses like racketeering, narcotics trafficking, and other firearms-related crimes, but it's not only those activities that have drawn the FBI's attention. He's believed to have played a pivotal role in providing firearms, narcotics, and cash to MS-13 members that are operating in the United States. Moreover, he's also suspected of ordering numerous murders of rival gang members, cementing his reputation as a ruthless criminal leader. In November of 2021, he made history as the 526th fugitive to be placed on the FBI's Most Wanted list, replacing another one who had no longer met the list's criteria. This move by the FBI shows the seriousness of how they regard his crimes, along with $100,000 to anyone who can lead to his capture and prosecution. His criminal career took a dramatic turn in 2020 when he executed a bold escape from prison while being transported to court. He was aided by MS-13 in a well-coordinated attack, showing his power and influence within the gang. This audacious escape would only add to his reputation as a dangerous and elusive criminal. He is accused of orchestrating numerous violent acts to facilitate shipments of cocaine to the United States, demonstrating his significant impact on the international drug trade. The United States government, recognizing the threat, escalated its efforts to capture him. In 2023, the United States stated a $5 million reward through its narcotics reward program for any information that led to his arrest. A substantial reward is part of a concerted effort to bring this dangerous fugitive to justice. Alejandro Castillo. Alejandro Rosales Castillo's story is a grim saga that intertwines love, betrayal, and murder. Born in November of 1998, Castillo's journey took a dark turn which led him to becoming one of the FBI's 10 most wanted fugitives. He's wanted for the murder of Sandy Lay, a crime that shattered a community and left many questions unanswered. Castillo's life crossed paths with Sandy when they both worked at a restaurant in Charlotte, North Carolina. Their brief romantic involvement had laid groundwork for the tragic events that followed. Castillo, after having borrowed money from Sandy and failing to repay, began dating another co-worker, marking the beginning of a complex and deadly love triangle. In August of 2016, Castillo reached out to Sandy, claiming he intended to repay the money he owed. Trusting him, she agreed to meet Castillo at a quick trip on Eastway Drive in Charlotte, but unbeknownst to her, the meeting was just a ruse. Instead of repaying the debt, Castillo, along with his new love, who drove him to the meeting, embarked on a sinister plan. The night would end in tragedy when Castillo forced Sandy to withdraw all of her money from the bank and then drove her to a wooded area, and in a cold-blooded act, he fatally shot her in the head, leaving her body discarded in a ravine. Motivated by greed, he had killed her and left her behind. After committing the murder, Castillo and his girlfriend would take Sandy's 2003 Toyota Corolla and drove it from North Carolina to Phoenix, Arizona, where they abandoned the car at a bus stop. From there, they crossed the border into Mexico, with surveillance footage having captured their entry into the country. The discovery of Sandy's body in August of 2016 brought the grim realities of the crime to light, and Castillo would be charged with first-degree murder. In February of 2017, he would additionally be charged with unlawful flight to avoid prosecution. Omar Alexander Cardenas. Omar Alexander Cardenas is a name that's become infamous in the annals of crime and found itself on the FBI's 10 most wanted fugitives list. Born in 1995, his journey from an American youth to a notorious fugitive is a tale that's marked with violence and evasion. He's wanted for the cold-blooded murder that took place outside of a barber shop in a neighborhood of Los Angeles, California. The incident propelled him into the national spotlight, and the victim, Jabali Dumas, a 46-year-old man whose life came to a tragic ending outside of the hair icon barbershop. According to the LAPD, the murder was chilling in its execution. Cardenas, suspected of being a member of the Pierce Street gang, had fired 9 shots at Dumas from about 30 feet away, striking him fatally in the head. This ruthless action was not only a display of blatant violence, but also a statement of gang power and intimidation. His indictment in April of 2020 would mark the beginning of his life as a fugitive. Charges against him did not only paint the picture of a gang member, but that of a calculated murderer. In a bid to escape justice, he fled, likely taking refuge to Mexico given his known connections there. However, he also has ties to Southern California, where his family and friends suggest he could still be. The search for Omar has been a challenging one for law enforcement. The FBI suspects that he may be working as a construction worker, a guise that could help him to blend in and evade capture. Like many others on the most wanted list, they've offered a $100,000 reward for any information that would lead to his capture. And his story is a reminder of the impact of gang violence on communities and the lengths to which individuals will go to evade the law. His alleged murder and the subsequent life on the run highlight the challenges faced by authorities in tackling gang-related crimes and bringing perpetrators to justice. Ruja Ignatova. Ruja Ignatova's story reads like the script from a high-stakes thriller, complete with deception, intrigue, and a mysterious disappearance. Born in May of 1980 in Bulgaria, this charismatic and well-educated individual rose to infamy for orchestrating one of the largest Ponzi schemes in the history, the OneCoin cryptocurrency scam. Her actions not only defrauded thousands of investors, but also earned her a place on the FBI's most wanted list. Her journey into the world of fraudulent schemes began with the founding of OneCoin in 2014. Touted as a revolutionary cryptocurrency, OneCoin would be marketed as a potential Bitcoin killer, and Ignatova, along with her business partner Sebastian Greenwood, would lure investors in with promises of high returns and the opportunity to be part of the next big thing. However, beneath the glossy surface of these promises laid a deceptive Ponzi scheme that bilked billions of dollars from unsuspecting investors across the globe. Growing up, Ignatova's academic achievements were notable. She earned a PhD in private international law from the University of Konstanz in Germany and even had a stint at McKinsey & Company. However, her descent into the criminal underworld began before her involvement with OneCoin. In 2012, she had faced charges of fraud in Germany related to a controversial company acquisition that later went bankrupt. The downfall began in 2017 when she suddenly vanished, just as law enforcement agencies were closing in on the OneCoin scam. Her brother Konstantin, also involved in the scheme, would be arrested in 2019 at the airport as he attempted to flee the country. His arrest and subsequent cooperation with authorities would shed light on the extent of the OneCoin scam. In June of 2022, her notoriety reached a new peak when she was added to the most wanted fugitives list, the standard $100,000 reward being offered for any information that led to her arrest. And despite ongoing speculation and theories about her fate, which also included rumors of her possible murder, law enforcement agencies continue to operate under the assumption that she's alive. The search is not only a manhunt, it also represents the global effort to bring to justice someone responsible for the most audacious of financial scams in recent history. Jose Rodolfo Villarreal Hernandez. Jose Hernandez, also known as El Gato, epitomizes the dangerous and often violent world of Mexican drug cartels. Hernandez rose through the ranks to become a key figure in the Beltran Leyva cartel, a notorious organization deeply rooted in drug trafficking and violence. His path to becoming one of the most wanted fugitives would be paved with blood and crime, culminating in a high-profile assassination that shocked even those who were accustomed to cartel brutality. Hernandez's criminal activities extend far beyond the typical drug trafficking operations. He held prominent leadership positions within the cartel, an organization known for its ruthless approach to maintaining power and influence in the drug trade. But it would be the murder of Juan Jesus Guerrero Chapa, a lawyer with ties to the Gulf Cartel and a U.S. informant, that would catapult him into infamy. Chapa's involvement with the Gulf Cartel and his cooperation with U.S. law enforcement agencies had made him a target amongst the violent world of Mexican cartels. Villarreal Hernandez, driven by a desire for revenge for the murder of his own father by the Gulf Cartel, had orchestrated a complex and deadly plot to eliminate Chapa. In May of 2013, Chapa and his wife were on vacation in Texas when they were ambushed. The assassination would be carried out with chilling precision. A white Toyota Sequoia had trailed Chapa's burgundy Range Rover. As he entered the vehicle, a hooded assassin would emerge, firing multiple shots with a 9mm handgun. Chapa was mortally wounded, marking Southlake's first murder in over a decade. This murder was a direct consequence of the ongoing violent feuds between cartels, with Hernandez at the heart of this particular act of vengeance.